Hello, welcome. My name is Jason Humphrey. This is another video in the Thinkful playlist of mine. This video is all about being determined to get the answers. And this plays off the last video about how to get the most out of mentors in the sense of I was talking about questions there and what to come with. And I was saying in that video specifically, don't come with questions you can answer in 5 minutes. And even then, if you have questions you can't answer in 5 minutes, but it's something you know you can solve, that's what I want to iterate in this video, is being determined to find the answers. Because if you can find the answers, you can then go ask harder questions to your mentors. Ones that, are worth taking to them and not worth, something you could do in 5 minutes. So let's dig down into this. Being determined, right? It starts honestly with Google. Let's cut the crap right now. It starts with Google. How determined are you is how much are you willing to search, right? Someone else in this world has experienced your issue, unless you're on the bleeding cutting edge of Angular 4, 5, whatever it might be now. Someone else has experienced this issue. Don't reinvent the wheel. Let's find someone else's problem and let's go check it out for ourselves. A great place to start when we're searching for answers, or we're searching for someone else has had this problem, or a setup guide, whatever it might be. Blogs are an amazing place to start when you're searching on Google. You're going to find some as you continue over time here at Thinkful. You're going to find a lot of amazing blogs. There's a couple I can think of right now, and I'm not going to try to name drop a bunch of people. There's a bunch of blogs that I constantly look at to see what's coming new, what's happening. At the same time, these blogs also do error handling. They talk about errors and they talk about problems they've experienced. Blogs are a great place to start. The next place to be determined to find your answer is Stack Overflow. That is a phenomenal place where lots of people to this day put errors they're experiencing on there and then how it was solved. Another great thing you can do is look at the API documentation of whatever tool you're working with. If it happens to be a Sublime tool or a open source GitHub package or an NPM module, go look at the documentation that they've set up forth for you. And then this leads me right to my next point. Well, once you're already in the GitHub, go look at their examples, because their examples can lead you to your answers more often than not, because you can see the code working physically and then manipulate it and then start to grow an understanding of, okay, I get how this works. Okay, maybe this will solve my issue because that's how it's working over here. So between not only looking at the API documentation examples, there's a ton there you can do in the GitHub. Also, GitHub issues. If you're having a problem you really can't find, that's another solution, is go to GitHub issues and submit an issue to the repository of whoever created the tool you're using, whether it's jQuery, Angular, React, or one of these NPM modules. And that's another great way. So there's lots of great things around GitHub also, not just Google, but GitHub, to help you find what you're looking for. Now, some underutilized things that people don't always use when I'm saying be determined for the answer is students. There are lots of other students that are going through exactly what you're going through. Talk to them, grow a network, grow some relationships, and that way when you have an issue, you can ask, your 4 or 5 people that you have in your network, just say, hey, have you experienced this? Because this draws into being determined for their answer. You can't, just because Google doesn't have it, just because GitHub doesn't have it, just because Stack Overflow doesn't have it, doesn't mean you can't go ask someone you know and say, hey, have you experienced this? No? Okay, thanks. And move on to the next thing. But you got to give it your all. You got to try there. And at the same time, don't be afraid to post in Slack to the general public so that you can get an answer. You can have questions. You can get them answered. You can figure things out. It will save you a ton of time and help you grow to see how other people are thinking, to see how do they get to that answer, and then how do I understand this? So students, Slack. Another thing I want to point out is there is a time limit here, right? You should be determined. You should take, no prisoners and just keep going until you solve it. But sometimes that's a little much. You don't want to spend 5 hours on something someone can tell you in 1 minute. So I do say and recommend a time limit of 30 minutes. And I don't mean 30 minutes hits and you go dump your problem on one person and leave it with them. what I'm saying with a time limit is when it hits that 30-minute mark, start asking questions around. And if no one can answer it, keep trying to work on it and keep asking around. Slowly but surely, you'll eventually run into somebody who's experienced what you've experienced before, or can at least point you in the right direction. And what does all this have to do with being determined to get the answer? Well, this all has to do with moving forward in the direction. You have your error, right? You have your problem, your project, whatever you're doing. It all correlates to moving forward, whether it's just a simple Google search, whether it's examples, whether it's documentation, whether it's Stack Overflow, whether it's talking to students, talking to mentors, asking questions here and there, growing a network. It all has to do with moving forward and being determined. Being determined will move you forward closer to your answer that you're looking for. And if you can do some of these things I've talked about today before you really have to reach out, you're going to learn a process that helps you. I guess it all breaks down at the very bottom level to you're building a process here to be determined, to find what you're looking for, to move you forward to the solution. So these are some just tips and tidbits that I have for you. By all means, leave some comments below. Let me know if I should add something to this video or not. Hopefully this helps, and we'll be in touch.